You are at the breaking point. That situation you've been enduring for months, perhaps years, has finally reached its limit. And now an exit has appeared. It seems logical, it seems practical, it seems like the obvious answer to end this pain once and for all. But something is bothering you, a tiny bit of doubt that you're trying to ignore because you're too tired to analyze it. And here is the truth that can save you from a devastating mistake. Not every open door is the right path. Some doors are traps disguised as relief, and you only realize you've fallen in when you're already inside and the door has closed behind you. In the next few minutes, you will learn the difference between legitimate rest and premature abandonment, between practical wisdom and rationalization of principles, between the trial that strengthens you and the temptation that leads you astray. Because if you don't learn to distinguish now, you will make a decision that seems to solve everything, but will actually only trap you in an even worse cycle. Let's get straight to the point. You are exhausted. It's not the fatigue of a bad week, it's that deep exhaustion that accumulates when you've been sustaining something heavy for too long without enough help. It could be a relationship that drains more than it nourishes. It could be a job where you give your all and receive crumbs of recognition. It could be a calling you embraced with enthusiasm, but which now feels too heavy to carry alone. And in this state of exhaustion, an option has appeared. Someone has offered a quick solution. An opportunity that solves the financial problem, but distances you from your purpose. A relationship that offers immediate comfort, but demands you silence important parts of who you are. An exit that gets you out of the pressure, but also gets you off track. And the most treacherous part. It makes sense. You can build a perfect logical argument to justify it. I need to survive first, then I'll think about purpose. Everyone makes compromises. I can't be idealistic forever.
Attention, you need to prepare now. I put together an exclusive resource for those who feel set apart for something greater, but live surrounded by noise, distractions, and mental overload. This is a 30-day journey that will transform your life, a guided path to armor your mind and prepare for what's coming, with daily practices of focus, boundaries, and discipline. Stop negotiating with the noise. Learn to spot distractions before they control you and strengthen your mind. Also available in an immersive audio version. Over 10,000 readers have already transformed their lives through the 30-day journey. Thousands of people have already started this transformation. People like you who were tired of living in the fog, ordinary people who decided to stop accepting mental chaos. Take advantage of this limited time offer only this month. Access your link just below in the pinned comment.
If God wanted me to continue, He would have provided better. And the more you repeat these phrases, the more true they seem. This has a name. The ancient Hebrews called it Yetzer Hara, the inclination towards evil that doesn't present itself as a monster, but as a rational advisor. It doesn't say, destroy your life. It says, be practical, be realistic, protect yourself. The University of São Paulo conducted studies on what they call cognitive rationalization in states of elevated stress, and the findings are frightening. When the prefrontal cortex is overloaded by chronic stress, our ability to assess long-term consequences diminishes drastically. The brain enters immediate survival mode, and anything that promises quick relief gains disproportionate weight in decision-making. You are literally not thinking straight, and choices made in this state have a regret rate of over 70% within 6 months. But it's not just neurology. It's also a spiritual pattern documented for millennia. There is a devastating story about it. Esau. He returns from a day of hunting, hungry, exhausted. Jacob is cooking a stew that smells too good. And Esau says that fatal phrase, I am about to die, so what good is the birthright to me? And he sells his birthright, his inheritance, his future, for a bowl of lentils. Not because he was stupid, because he was vulnerable. Immediate hunger seemed more real than future blessing. And when you read the full story, you discover that he regretted it for the rest of his life. Hebrews says that he sought with tears the place of repentance, but found none. Some decisions have a window of reversal, others do not. Are you being Esau now? Looking at something that solves today's hunger but sells tomorrow's destiny? and rationalizing that there is no choice, that you need to survive, that if it were really important, it wouldn't be so difficult. Let me show you the complete mechanism of this trap, because if you understand how it works, you can escape before you fall. First stage, genuine vulnerability. This is not moral weakness, it is a human condition. You are tired, you are alone, you are under pressure. This is real. The problem is not being vulnerable. The problem is making permanent decisions in temporary states. The Federal University of Rio de Janeiro published research on decision-making processes and discovered something crucial. Decisions made at peaks of negative emotion show a systematic bias towards short-term solutions with high long-term costs. Your brain is programmed to end the pain now, even if it creates greater pain later. Second stage, the personalized bait. The trap is never generic. It molds itself exactly to your area of greatest pain. If you are lonely, it appears as a relationship that demands you silence your voice. If you are financially strapped, it appears as quick money that compromises integrity. If you are questioning your calling, it appears as a more practical alternative that is the exact opposite of what you were called to do. And the seduction lies in how it addresses the real pain. It is not a complete illusion. It is half-truth, which is the most dangerous lie. The Greeks had a fascinating word for this, perasmos, generally translated as temptation, but the original meaning is deeper. It means test, trial, that which reveals what is within. And here is the paradox. The same situation can be a trial from God or a temptation from the adversary, depending on your response. If you use the pressure to grow, to seek resources you didn't know you had, to draw closer to community and to God, it is a trial that strengthens. If you use it as justification to abandon principles, to make compromises you knew you shouldn't, it is a temptation that leads astray. The Getulio Vargas Foundation mapped the trajectories of professionals who faced career crises and discovered two distinct groups. Group 1 used the crisis to reevaluate, seek mentorship, make strategic adjustments while maintaining core values. Result: 82% reported significant professional and personal growth within 2 years. Group 2 used the crisis to justify reactive changes, abandoning principles for immediate convenience. Result: 74% reported regret and the need to reverse decisions, often at a very high cost. The difference was not in the intensity of the crisis, it was in the response. One group asked, "How do I grow through this?" The other asked, "How do I escape this?" And escape is always a trap when what you need is passage. Third stage, decisional isolation. Here lies the fatal danger. You start to think that no one will understand, that if you tell trusted people, they will judge you. So you decide alone. And solitary decisions in moments of vulnerability have the highest error rates because you have no mirror. You have no one to ask, "Do you really believe this, or are you just desperate?" There is a verse in Proverbs that says, "Where there is no counsel, the plans fail, but with many counselors there is success." It's not about outsourcing the decision. It's about submitting your reasoning to the test of reality through people who love you, but are not under the same emotional pressure as you. Stanford conducted experiments on individual versus collective decision-making in high-pressure scenarios, and the results are clear. Groups of 3 to 5 people make decisions 40% more aligned with stated values than isolated individuals. Why? Because when you verbalize your rationalization to someone who knows your history, the logical flaws become obvious. You hear yourself saying things that wouldn't sound true in another context, but alone, your own inner voice can convince you of anything. There is another devastating biblical story about this. Samson. He had a clear calling, specific rules, supernatural strength as long as he followed the covenant, but he got involved with Delilah, who was literally being paid by his enemies to discover the secret of his strength. And she asks, he resists, she insists, he yields a little, she presses harder. Until, exhausted by the constant pressure, he reveals everything. And he wakes up with his head shaved, his strength gone, his eyes gouged out, grinding grain in prison. He thought he could control the situation, that he could keep the secret while enjoying the relationship. He couldn't, because you don't partially negotiate with what wants to destroy you completely. Are you doing that now? thinking you can take just a little bit of the wrong solution without full consequences, that you can compromise just in this area without affecting others, that you can maintain inner integrity while making external concessions. You can't. Samson proved you can't, and millions since then have learned the same lesson in the most painful way. So how do you differentiate? How do you know if what you are considering is legitimate rest or disguised escape? Here are the tests that do not fail. Test 1. The light test. If you need to hide this decision from the people who know and respect you most, it's a giant red flag. Genuine solutions withstand light. You can explain it to your mentor, to that friend who has known you for years, to that wise person you respect, and they will understand the logic even if they question the timing. But if you already know they will frown, that they will ask, "But wasn't this what you always said you would never do?" And you are avoiding the conversation precisely because of that. You already have your answer. Proverbs says, "The path of the righteous is like the dawning light that shines brighter and brighter until the full day." It increases clarity. It does not require shadow. Test 2. The future test. Imagine yourself 5 years from now. The decision you are considering now has come to fruition. You are living the full consequences, and you look back. Do you feel peace or shame, pride or regret? If the future version of you, who has more wisdom, more perspective, more emotional distance, would be disappointed with the current version who gave in, you know it's not the way. Yale published studies on what they call temporally distant self, and found that when people imagine their future selves evaluating present decisions, the rate of choices aligned with long-term values increases by 57%. Test 3. The pressure test. If the opportunity requires an immediate decision, if there is a tight deadline, if you are being pressured to choose now without time to process, be deeply suspicious. Genuine offers withstand reflection. Only traps require haste. There is a beautiful Greek word for this, dokimazo, which means to test, to prove, to examine before approving. Precious metals were tested by fire to verify purity. You didn't rush the process because haste led to error. And life decisions require the same rigor. If someone or something is rushing you, ask, why the rush? What is lost with a week of reflection? And if the answer is the opportunity will disappear, it's already an indicator that it probably wasn't a divine opportunity. The Federal Council of Psychology published guidelines on healthy decision-making processes, and one of the main markers of problematic decisions is precisely artificial time pressure. Important decisions deserve time proportional to their impact. Buying clothes can be a decision of minutes. Changing careers, ending a marriage, abandoning a calling, these deserve weeks or months of careful processing. Test 4. The price test. Every decision has a cost. The question is, are you willing to pay with what is negotiable, or are you being asked to pay with what is non-negotiable? Negotiable, temporary comfort, social status, money. Non-negotiable, integrity, calling, core values, foundational relationships. If the price of the solution is betraying who you are at your core, the price is too high. Jesus asked, "What good is it for a man to gain the whole world and forfeit his soul?" It's not rhetoric, it's spiritual mathematics. Some losses are not worth any gain. The Federal University of Minas Gerais conducted research on core values and found that individuals who violate their own stated values, even for significant objective gains, experience chronic cognitive dissonance that manifests as anxiety, depression, and a sense of emptiness. Your internal system registers the betrayal even when your conscious mind tries to justify it, and you live divided, knowing you chose security over truth, comfort over character. If you've made it this far and are feeling a mixture of relief and discomfort, pay attention to that feeling. Relief because someone is naming what you intuited but were trying to ignore. Discomfort because now you can no longer pretend you don't know. And from here you have a real decision to make. Not the decision about the external situation, but the decision about the process. Will you decide alone and quickly, or will you decide with wisdom and community? There is one more biblical story that perfectly concludes this. Jonah, called to go to Nineveh to preach repentance. He hated Nineveh. He didn't want them to repent because he thought they deserved destruction. So he took a boat in the opposite direction, and here's the detail. He paid for the passage out of his own pocket. He got the boat. There was a favorable wind. Everything was flowing. If he had looked only at the external circumstances, he would have said God was confirming his escape. But he wasn't. He was allowing Jonah to experience the consequences of disobedience to the point where the only way out was to return to the original calling. The storm came. Jonah was thrown into the sea, swallowed by a fish. He spent 3 days in total darkness, in stench, in claustrophobia, and there, with no way out, he finally prayed. He said, "I will do what you commanded." He was vomited onto the shore. He went to Nineveh, he preached, the city converted. And Jonah was angry about it, but he fulfilled the calling. And his story became a lesson for generations. You don't negotiate with God. Either you do what you were called to do, or you do it the hard way after exhausting all alternatives. Where are you on this journey? Taking the boat to Tarshish, thinking it will work. Already in the storm, realizing that escape was not a way out. Or inside the fish, with no option but to finally answer the call. Regardless of the stage, the way out is the same. Return to the path you knew from the beginning was the right one. So here is what you do now today. Before making any big decisions, first move, you pause. No matter how urgent it seems, force a break of at least 72 hours before any irreversible decision. This is not a time for procrastination. It is a time for processing. Your brain needs to get out of panic mode and return to wisdom mode. Oxford published findings showing that the prefrontal cortex takes about 48 hours to recalibrate after an acute stress peak. Deciding before then means deciding with the wrong part of your brain activated. If the offer doesn't wait 72 hours, it wasn't a divine offer. Simple as that. God didn't rush you out of Egypt in 12 hours after 400 years there. He won't rush you now. Second move, you consult your counsel. Call those 3 people who know your history, your values, your calling, and tell them with brutal honesty what you are considering and why. Not to ask for permission, to test your rationalization, and listen to what they say, not defensively but with openness. If all 3 raise the same red flag, you have no freedom to ignore it. Proverbs did not say, "With one counselor there is wisdom." It said, "With many counselors," plural. Because one might be projecting, but 3 converging is a pattern. Third move, you identify what is non-negotiable. Write it down. Literally take pen and paper and list. These are my non-negotiable values. These are the principles by which I said I would live. These are the boundaries I have drawn. And then you look at the decision you are considering and ask with brutal honesty, does this violate any of these? If it does, you already have your answer. No matter how attractive it seems, no matter how much relief it promises. If it requires you to betray who you said you would be, the cost is too high. The University of Campinas mapped the trajectories of leaders who maintained integrity in crises versus those who made concessions under pressure. The first group took longer to resolve immediate situations, but built solid foundations that sustained decades of impact. The second group resolved crises quickly, but created precedents of compromise that undermined credibility and long-term effectiveness. Integrity lost today is authority lost tomorrow. Fourth move, you seek a creative alternative. Most of the time, when you see only 2 options, continue suffering or make a bad compromise, it's because you are in binary thinking induced by stress. Harvard published studies on creative problem solving and found that when people under stress are forced to generate at least 5 alternatives before choosing, viable solutions appear that were not on the initial radar. You don't have to choose between martyrdom and betrayal. There is a third way, but you only find it when you stop accepting that the 2 bad options on the table are the only ones that exist. And while you do all this, keep one truth at the center. God does not lead you to your calling only to abandon you midway. The trial is real. The pressure is real. But provision is also real. However, provision does not come before obedience. It comes during. You take the step of faith and the resource appears for the next step. But you want a guarantee in advance. You want to see the entire path illuminated before taking the first step. And faith doesn't work that way. Hebrews says that faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. You don't see it, but you trust that when you get there, it will be there. And here is the final liberating truth. You don't need less pressure. You need more discernment. Pressure is not the problem. Pressure is the context in which character is revealed and forged. The problem is confusing a quick exit with a true solution. And when you learn the difference, when you develop the tests, when you submit decisions to wisdom instead of making them alone in desperation, you stop falling into traps that disguise themselves as open doors. Because an open door is not always confirmation. Sometimes it's just a door, and you need more than a door. You need direction, you need peace, you need alignment. And these three things together, when you have them, there is no doubt. It may be difficult, it may be scary, but there is no doubt that it is the right path. If this video arrived at the exact moment you were about to make a decision out of desperation, if you recognize the patterns of the trap before falling, leave the word pause in the comments. This is your declaration that you will pause, consult, test before deciding. And subscribe to the channel, because in the coming days, we will delve into exactly how to build this council of wisdom around you, how to identify voices worth listening to. Activate the bell so you don't miss it, because the next video will equip you with practical tools to make aligned decisions even under extreme pressure. And share this with someone you know who is at that breaking point, considering doing something they will regret, needing to hear that there is another way. Until the next video, and remember, the solution that demands haste is not a divine solution. Wisdom withstands time. Traps demand urgency.
Attention, you need to prepare now. I put together an exclusive resource for those who feel set apart for something greater, but live surrounded by noise, distractions, and mental overload. This is a 30-day journey that will transform your life, a guided path to armor your mind and prepare for what's coming, with daily practices of focus, boundaries, and discipline. Stop negotiating with the noise. Learn to spot distractions before they control you, and strengthen your mind. Also available in an immersive audio version. Over 10,000 readers have already transformed their lives through the 30-day journey. Thousands of people have already started this transformation. People like you, who were tired of living in the fog. Ordinary people who decided to stop accepting mental chaos. Take advantage of this limited time offer only this month. Access your link just below in the pinned comment.